Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Galactic Summit hosted by Galnet News. The summit will address a range of 5 topics chosen by members of our galaxy and brings together many of the Pilots Federation members to discuss each one. We will be taking questions from the live audience, and live viewers can leave their questions via the chat system at any time. We'll pick the best few questions, and these will be asked of our attendees at the end of the session, so please feel free to chip in if you're watching live. Faction attendees will be given 1 minute each to address the current topic, and this can be split amongst both attendees or just one. And if you finish before the minute is up or you have nothing to contribute, please clearly indicate that you're passing to the next faction. If a vote is required, please indicate this clearly in your response or indicate that you would like to abstain from voting. Voting is non-binding and purely designed to give an indication of how the majority of factions view a particular issue, although voting in favour of an issue that a faction then goes against might be bad for your public image. I will call each faction to speak in turn, and the order is randomised for each faction per topic. Please wait until you are called to speak. We will now hear a 1 minute introduction from each faction. As I mentioned, this is a random order. Be Adel's Armada, please.
Yes. Adel's Armada is a federal-aligned militia group made up of a group of Federal Navy combat pilots who act as vigilantes and work as a sort of intergalactic police force. We're based out of Engaliba, but we travel to conflicts around the galaxy, fighting perceived injustices. Next group.
Thank you. The next group will be PCI Syndicate.
PCI Syndicate is a independent, small group based on the rim of the galaxy in Pand. Our focus is working the background sim. Next group, please.
And the next group is going to be Cosmic State, please.
Cosmic State is a Space Viking themed PvP group. We are currently working on the background sim. We're also an independent faction. We're not aligned with any particular group. And we deal in almost all professions in the game. Next group.
Thank you. I have just been informed by the live chat we need to just boost the volume a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And the next group is going to be Volkspack.
Hello, we are Volkspack, the Volunteer Space Commandos. We are born of a primarily Arma 3 group. A lot of the guys in our group played the original Elite games, so a lot of us have moved over and started doing this. We're an Imperial aligned group, and I'd rather not discuss where we are based out of. We focus on working the background simulation, completing Empire aligned community goals, and all around trying to get our influence around our local cluster. Next group.
Thank you very much. I need to remind you this is an in-character event. And the next group is going to be Communist Pizza Party, please. Do we have any representatives from the Communist Pizza Party? No. Moving on. Okay. Next group, Big Harry's Boys, please.
Hello, I'm the lead ambassador and general, Commander Space Texas, of the Big Harry's Boys. I represent the entirety of Something Awful and its goons. This galaxy is full of wonders, and personally speaking, we should be reflecting that. We strongly believe in the freedom and independence of groups to do what they want and have their own firm stance. We strongly believe against slavery, and we believe that, as such, we should have more groups, independent and such, out there. We also support Harold Duvall's group, and we want to see him back in the throne. He may not be as mentally ill or ill-minded as many have said, and we're here to prove that. We've also been working on the background simulator, and we wish to work with other groups as well. Next group.
Thank you. The next group is Emperor's Grace, please.
I am Commander Judo with Emperor's Grace. Emperor's Grace is a multi-organization with several sub-factions. We focus in, I guess you would say, influence, manipulation, and system control. We have several systems that we are working within, none of which are being disclosed at the time. And we are all about the Emperor.
Thank you. The next group will be Merchant Marines, please.
Hello, Commander Fat Haggard here, second in command of the Merchant Marines.
And I'm Commander Farewell, first mate of the Merchant Marines. The Merchant Marines are composed of friendly members of the Pilots Federation who believe that, of the three galactic powers, the Federation's regime is the most morally upstanding.
The Merchant Marines serve to protect all citizens traveling through Federation space and to promote free and open trade in order to benefit our members and citizens of the galaxy at large.
Currently, the Merchant Marines have not declared allegiance to any political faction within the Federation, and we will remain independent until our members choose to align themselves otherwise.
Our primary objective and role in Federation space is to maintain peace in order to ensure the safety of our members and to promote commerce. That's all for us.
Thank you, Merchant Marines. Delta Squad, please.
Hi, my name is Commander Delumis, and we are a group of independent traders, explorers, and mercenaries, guns for hire, and bounty hunters. We do stand against pirates, and we do stand against other sorts of criminals like murderers. We provide a safe space and escort for our members and also other players that we find friendly. And that will be pretty much all about us, actually.
Thank you, Delta Squad. Dark Echo, please.
Greetings, I am Ambassador Arank Machk. In an attempt to characterize Dark Echo as an organization, I must first emphasize that our most fundamental belief is that individual self-determination must be protected, and that this position informs nearly every policy decision we make. We look out for the rights of the little guy or gal. Efforts large or small to weaken the rights of free commanders to move about the galaxy in pursuit of commerce, exploration, and legitimate bounties sit at odds with our charter and provoke us to resolute action. Extortion, corruption, and the random violence of murderous lunatics cannot be tolerated by a galactic population that cherishes liberty and must be oppressed by factions such as ours, even at the risk of death. Dark Echo currently claims no faction allegiance, as our first and most sturdy allegiance is to each other, and to any commander or organization in the verse that places the value of freedom above concerns about borders, political power, or accumulation of the almighty credit. We extend our friendship to those who agree with us in word and in action, and look forward to working towards our common goals in the future. That is all.
Thank you to Dark Echo, and now on to the Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps.
Hello, my name is Kanak, and this is a pro-alliance organization. Our goal is to support the overall development of the alliance. We currently have around 700 registered pilots and 200 active pilots with varying degrees of activity. Our headquarters are around Wolf 406 in a cluster of the alliance systems between Alliance and Leif. We conduct a wide range of activities, including trading, combat exploration, mining, and in general assisting alliance factions. We are welcoming new systems into the arms of the alliance each week, with 30 systems having joined the alliance since the beginning of this year. And we are happy to announce that Wolf 406 Transports Company, it's partnered with Liaidin to produce the Diamondback, and it's starting to retrofit the station to produce the Diamondback. And we welcome every independent pilot to visit Hamilton Gateway and get the details of the current events around Wolf 406. That's all.
Thank you. The next group will be XYZ or XYZ.
Hello, I am video of the XYZ Coalition of Independent Commanders. This group started after the co-founders, Amphetamine Rush and Link 1973, met up while on separate exploration ventures to the Heart and Soul Nebula. Finding each other of a similar mind and neither a psychopath driven mad by the depths, they decided to keep contact after reaching normal space again. Unfortunately, they found the local frequencies cluttered and rather inconvenient for their independent dispositions, so they opted to rent out a quantum communications relay. From there, smaller groups began to use this comm system, with it playing host to subgroups such as the Elite Racers and the Crimson Eagles Formation Division, leading it to become the diverse and powerful coalition of independent pilots that it is today, helping each other when their objectives align and acting as a group when greater effect is deemed necessary.
Thank you.
Next group.
The next group will be the East India Company.
Hello, my name is Commander Liquid Catnip, and I am the CEO of the East India Company. Like the East India Company of old, we are an imperially aligned mercantile trading company that seek to expand imperial influence through manipulation of market forces, a strong private military, and the collaboration of like-minded, morally flexible pilots. We also do charity work and children's parties. Next group.
Thank you. The Federal Naval Elite, please.
Greetings, Commanders. I'm Colonel Aaron Lucas of the Federal Navy Elite. The Federal Navy Elite is a cadre of dedicated combat pilots, loyal to the Federation and operating under the command of the Federal Navy. We were founded as an autonomous, loosely organized rapid response force. Next group.
Thank you very much. The next group is the Independent Pilots Consortium, the IPC.
Hello there, I'm Commander Starkiller of the IPC. It is our goal in the galaxy to help maintain the independency of the systems we have chosen, pave their own way throughout the galaxy. The independent systems are the true last bastions of freedom, is how we see it. We are working to protect the rights of the systems that have no official army or alliances in their time of need. The recent actions of the Empire hiding behind Senator Petreus shows us how fragile and unpowered the independent systems are. We try to remain neutral at our best. Next group.
Thank you. The next group will be the Code, please.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, also known as the Code's Bosun. The Code are the pirates everyone knows and loves. We have based ourselves in the New Caribbean and have brought stability to the area. Before we arrived, there were a lot of independent pirates and murderers. We pushed them out and took Listy from the Alliance. We now try to protect traders in the area. In return for protection, we introduced the Travel Pass. This was a way of funding the Code's enforcers and was very popular. We've been supporting Reinhardt and Telesis and the Jet family in the area, and we hope that one of them will soon become a major power and we will be at their side. Bang! And the pirates have gone. Next group.
Thank you very much. Next group, Empire Corsairs, please.
Hello, Commanders. Hello, everyone. I'm Commander Kamal Khan. I'm here with Commander John de Cobran as representatives of the Empire Corsairs. We are a French-speaking organization of about 40 pilots, active for 2 months. We are essentially doing RP activities, PvP, PvE, etc., and obviously aligned to the Empire. We are based in Empire and fly in it most of the time, but we go quite often in Federation doing some piracy. Our main feats of arms are active participation in the Valanga War and investigations regarding Emperor's assassination attempt, and several embargoes in Fed systems. Currently, we are on a protection operation in Persephone chasing pirates. Thank you.
Thank you. The next faction will be the Elite Space Corporation, please.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Commander Vokosian, and I'm a diplomat at ESC, or Elite Space Corporation. We are a French-speaking community. We're independent and bound to the Duke of Jotun, our homeworld, and which is also a permit system. We are about 50 commanders to be part of ESC, and we are right now controlling Jotun, Jojang, and Kaleta, and soon a fourth one. We accept every allegiances and every job from traders to pirates. Next group.
Thank you. The Mercenaries of Memoocan, please.
Hi, my name is Commander Malthan. I'm here representing the Mercs of Memoocan. Mercs of Memoocan are a coalition of mercenary pilots that came to the aid of the Dukes of Memoocan out of the system Memoocan. We primarily focus on exploring and uncovering the secrets of the universe and its inner workings, and use them to further the aims and goals of the Dukes. To fund our activities in this, we do also conduct operations activities on behalf of other commander and organizations in return for either profit or their time and our help. Next group.
Thank you. Next group is Northern Light, please.
Hello, I'm Commander Casper from Northern Light, and with me is Commander Dragonfly. We are from Northern Light, an alliance-based group focusing on combat, while we do have a couple sections that do go into exploration and trading. While we are alliance-based, we do not hold strictly to what they say we can and cannot do. For instance, when they said, do not help the independents in the Lave Cluster, we wouldn't help them because we feel that it is in the Alliance's best interest, whether they know it or not, to, maintain relations with them. So we do stuff based off of our own basic moral code, but we still believe that the Alliance is a big part of what is free in the galaxy. I yield my time.
Thank you. And the next group will be ADK, please.
I'm Commander Book. I'm a Sky Marshal of ADK, here with Jim Anawell, my Vice Marshal. We rep a different kind of pilot. We're a diverse Federation-based group with pilots coming from all areas of Old Earth and surrounding Sol area, with focus on all walks of life, trade, combat, especially exploration. We're one of the older pilot organizations that you'll still find in existence today. Wings can be found on the regular in all of these areas, and even in deep space, with early pilot member achievements of single elite statuses and flying an Adder past Sagittarius A. We support Combined Pilots Federation initiatives for good. We bring food to the hungry and defend the weak. We will not shy away, however, from our part in defending Federation space and having our own place in conflicts past. Ultimately, though, we are a light-hearted group, meeting up for occasion for our own twist of races, trade relays, demolition derbies, and Old Earth VR and sim games. On to the next group.
Thank you. The next group will be the Alliance Protectorate, please. Anyone from the Alliance Protectorate? Okay, moving on. Last group then will be Test, please.
Hello, I am Commander Yaxim of Test. Our primary focus is to attract new pilots to the Pilots Federation and ensure that they are able to find their place in it right alongside our seasoned veterans. We also provide training and all the employment opportunities that the galaxy provides. And I'll yield to Commander Fausto.
I'm Commander Fausto of Test. We do not endorse any major factions, but we encourage our members to choose for themselves and their own loyalties, including support for both the Empire and the Federation. We do not, however, have any active support for the Alliance.
We'll yield our time.
Thank you very much. I believe we have now covered all attendees. If there's any attendees that I haven't called out yet, please speak up now. Okay. And that's going to conclude our introductions. We'll move on to the first topic now, in just a moment.
Book, can you read to us, please? Your voice is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Topic 1. Should griefing organizations be deemed kill on sight? And for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to define griefing quite carefully, which is an act designed to hurt, annoy, or incite another pilot for no other purpose than that purpose itself, without another motive. When you answer this, please indicate how you would like to vote on this. Vote yes for kill on sight, and vote no or abstain otherwise. And we will now bring up the order for this particular topic. And we'd like to hear from Test first on this one, please.
Alright. Test, we operate on the one rule, and one rule only, and that is do not be a dick. We see griefing as a dick move, and therefore are against it.
We feel it discriminates against any new and upcoming Pilots Federation members, and it makes it harder for the little guys to make a buck. We yield.
Thank you. Is that a vote for or an abstain?
I'm sorry, yay. It's a yay.
Thank you. Let's hear from ADK, please.
Very similarly, ADK holds a lot of push for the little guy. We do not see griefing as a proper conduct of a pilot, for sure. In such, we definitely cast our vote in favor of a kill on sight for commanders who are partaking in such activities. And passing on.
Thank you. Next, Independent Pilots Consortium, IPC, please.
At the IPC, we believe that you can't declare power that you do not have. You cannot not admit an organization because we don't agree with their business policy. With our ability to positively identify a commander via a group and not just a faction tag on them, this is just too open-ended and trying to control factors which in reality we cannot control.
And, which way are you voting there if you're voting?
We're voting yes.
Thank you. Moving on to Emperor's Grace, please.
Emperor's Grace would like to abstain from this. We find that we're not too concerned with griefers more than we are about commanders finding themselves manipulating time and space to their advantage in certain combat scenarios. Griefing is an act of man. We just rather not worry about it.
Thank you. And the code, please.
Well, in the code, we personally don't people, we pirate people, which is taking your cargo and only if you resist us. And we don't like other griefers. However, we're probably going to stay out of it as long as they don't come around where we operate, which is a lave cluster, also known as the New Caribbean. Sure, griefers are a pain in some people's sides, but it's all part of the game. Some people play like that, some people don't. We'll mostly leave you alone, but if you try and invade us, then we'll probably turn our heads to you.
Is that an abstain?
Yeah, I'd say we'd abstain.
Thank you. And now Big Harry's boys, please.
Thank you, Count. Well, going back to what griefing is, you're going to have to look at what that group stands for. And the whole entirety of it, to kill them on sight is all up to the group that they're harassing. So personally speaking, if we were to get attacked by a griefing group, then yeah, we would kill them. I'm not sure about the other guy right next to me, but yeah, we would definitely kill these guys. We would kill them on sight for attacking our members. Just for the sole purpose of just taking down our hull to 0%? Madmen, personally speaking. So, going back to answering that question, yes, we should kill them, but only if they're attacking us.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes vote. And now on to Empire Corsairs, please.
It's a yes, we agree. We think that griefing has to be kind of punished. Maybe a Reddit sticky post or wiki page would be good. List of known griefers corp and member list. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now on to Northern Light, please.
I vote yes for the kill on site list. However, I do have a couple points to make. Griefing is a dangerous thing. These commanders are they're very dangerous. They're out to kill other commanders. So just going to kill them as soon as an independent commander sees them could be very dangerous and not very beneficial. So I also support an updated intergalaxy list showing the locations of such griefers for prepared wings who are able to go after larger wings of griefers who may be flying more advanced ships. So, long and short of it is, yes, I support it.
Thank you. And now a Dark Echo, please.
As Dark Echo stands for the, little guy and gal commanders, and already condemn actions such as griefing, we vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mercenaries of Memoocan.
The Mercenaries of Memoocan are against the practice of griefing and believe it's not a honourable or valid method of existing in this universe. However, the vote on whether it should be on kill on sight is rather than valid, as we feel any organisation that would be capable of taking on and killing any griefers are already doing so as they're seen and encountered. We feel that any sort of sanction or method to oppose griefing should be much stricter, or another alternative should be created. However, we do vote yes on the kill on sight list.
Okay, thank you. Next, the Cosmic State, please.
There is no honor in stealing mead. Little girls, the clan has no place for cowards and honorless peasants. We therefore condemn any unnecessary acts of killing, as there is no honor in it. Oh, yeah. Yes, on the first proposal.
Thank you. North State, I'm just going to let you know your microphone has given us some issues. We could understand that, but it was a little bit dodgy. Adel's Armada, please.
Yes, I'm going to say yes, but with a caveat to that. Adel's Armada being a primarily anti-griefer and anti-piracy group, we tend to respond to incidents and reports of pointless murder or griefing from commanders around the galaxy. We do keep a very long list of suspect commanders, as well as groups of suspect commanders, and we do investigate on a case-to-case basis. Sometimes people tend to be just playing around, sometimes it's just a lie, so we tend to investigate first. And if found guilty, we will mitigate the threat until it is completely neutralized.
Okay, thank you. Delta Squad, please.
Well, obviously from our initial stance, we are against its bullies and killers, so our vote is yes. That's it.
Okay, thank you. XYZ or XYZ, please.
Oh, I do apologize, technical difficulties. And we took a vote on this issue and found that as a whole the community is against griefing and activities that would be qualified as such. However, that is assuming all instances are subject to classification as such on a case-by-case basis. So that is a vote for yay.
Okay, thank you. Volk SPAC, please.
As an organisation that's taking in many new pilots, we do see the act of griefing as dishonourable and not in line with Imperial values. That being said, the pilots of the universe can pilot their ships how they want, and we don't think it's our space to tell people what they should and shouldn't do, and if this is a measure to stop griefing, then it's really not going to work. So we are going to abstain from voting.
Okay, thank you. On to Merchant Marines, please.
Merchant Marines are for the kill on sight vote. We of the Merchant Marines believe that griefing, as defined by the Galnet here at this summit, is inexcusable and must be dealt with. To this end, the Merchant Marines vote that all groups that support and or condone griefing be declared rogue and targeted on sight.
Thank you. And on to PCI Syndicate, please.
We are against griefing. We seem to feel that this happens more often than not than what is actually realized by the community. However, with that said, we would also warn that a kill on sight list may incite people to report acts that are not necessarily griefing. New players may not understand exactly what that means in game, so we face the potential of having reports of griefers that are not actually griefers. So while we support the kill on sight list, we caution its use.
Shall I put that as a yes vote or an abstain?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next group is Federal Navy Elite, please.
I have to admit, Test's don't be a dick mantra is pretty spot on. Though while I feel the definition of griefing is quite subjective, on the whole, I agree that anyone who actively participates in any such activity should indeed be kill on sight. Our vote is yes. Next group.
Thank you. East India Company, please.
East India Company, excuse me, is firmly and publicly against griefing, as defined by Commander Cone just now. However, we believe that the definition represents a potential slippery slope that will see organizations branded as griefers if their actions or the actions of individual pilots within their ranks are not perceived as just or in line with the majority viewpoint. We are concerned as to whom will be given provision to oversee what groups are considered griefers and which are not. We cannot conscionably vote for this action without the appropriate checks and balances in place for the misuse and mislabeling of organizations. We vote no.
Okay, thank you. And on to the Alliance Protectorate, please. Did we decide? No, we decided that the Alliance Protectorate aren't actually here, so the Elite Space Corporation then, please.
We think that griefing is not a proper way to play, so we vote yes, as it can, we think, might force people to go out of the open play, which is a shame for the game, so we vote yes.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps, please.
We find that griefing is unfortunate. However, we also feel that a kill on sight list for these commanders will be counterproductive. Without clear information, it can't be enforced. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. We vote to abstain.
And that concludes the discussion on topic 1. Thanks for all the responses on that one. We'll move over to topic 2 very shortly. Bear with me. And topic 2. Organizations designating themselves as pirate should be considered as making an act of war if entering a high security system. And for the purposes of this discussion, a high security system is defined as that which is indicated on the galactic map, although attendees are free to provide their own definitions of what they deem to be high security if they desire. We'll be taking a vote on this topic as well, so please indicate clearly whether you vote yes, they should be considered making an act of war, no, they should not, or if you would like to abstain from voting. And I'll just randomize the order of this one as well. Okay, and we'll start with XYZ on this one, please.
Yes, we also took a vote on this issue and found that 88% of those who had an expressed opinion in the matter were against piracy being viewed as war in a high-sec system in all cases. So that is a vote against. I apologize. Do I need to clarify?
Yeah, no, you don't need to clarify. If that's a vote for no, then that's a vote for no.
Indeed.
Okay, moving on to the Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps, please.
Pirate activity in high security system isn't war. It's simply a lack of adequate policing, unless their actions change ownership of the station or intended to do so. If pirates are wanted, then they can be interdicted and killed by bounty hunters. We vote no.
Thank you. Moving on to the Merchant Marines.
We at the Merchant Marines believe that freedom of travel is an inherent right to all citizens of the galaxy. Thus, while we do not tolerate piracy, we do not believe that pirates should be immediately shot on sight upon entering a quote-unquote high-security system. However, we do recognize that bounty hunting is a legitimate profession, and thus pirates with bounties can be considered valid targets. Because of this, the Merchant Marines vote that members of pirate factions be granted free travel on good behavior, but warn that any act of piracy within secure systems will be met with lethal force.
Thank you. I need a straight yes, no, abstain on this issue.
No.
Thank you. And on to test, please.
We at test We think that pirates are by definition criminals, therefore they should be treated as such and are problems for the police and bounty hunters, and that applies no matter where they are. And this question seems to be too vague for us. We abstain.
Yes, as it would.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add on. We vote no, as it would be hard to enforce, and it would restrict free travel.
I have two conflicting votes. I heard abstain and no there.
Well, abstain from your question.
Abstain. Yes, abstain. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. On to PCI, please.
We vote no. We believe that free travel should be encouraged around the galaxy, and each local system should deal with piracy as they experience it.
Okay, thank you. On to Dark Echo, please.
Dark Echo votes no. There are actions short of war. We would consider this an incursion that warrants a response, but not quite an act of war. So Dark Echo votes no.
Brilliant, thank you. And Northern Light now, please.
The Northern Light wish to vote no on the issue due to the idea of acts of maybe just a few commanders would bring a lot of chaos to two factions. We can't be 100% sure that the actions of a few commanders of a group reflect as a whole.
Thank you. Now, Big Harry's boys, please.
Thank you, Cone. Well, this question's a little bit odd in the sense that if you define pirate as just, someone attacking the system and going after, cargo, then what's to stop another group from doing the same thing, or actually ignoring that and just going through and attacking the system and saying, oh, we're not doing anything. So yeah, I personally believe that pirates are an actual misunderstood business, and as such, they should be free to enter like any other person. But if they're attacking that system, well, that's the problem. And they're going to be met with a reasonable reinforcements and forces. It's just simple as that. So, to answer that, Cone, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, only if that pirate group is attacking, then yeah, it's fine. But at the same time, who are we to judge unless we own that system?
I'm going to put you down as an abstain in lack of a definite response to that one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, excuse me. And moving on to Volksback next, please.
Organizations designating themselves as pirate should be allowed to carry out their actions in whatever way they deem fit. If piracy is rampant in a system, it's a lack of effective police, not an act of war that's allowing that to happen. That being said, new pilots of the Pilots Federation would find it difficult if piracy became rampant in the high security systems where they start. Therefore, we would like to abstain from this.
Okay, thank you. ADK, please.
Piracy is piracy in our view. We do see it as a way of living for those not fit for the morality or structure of a military or of a trade convoy. Though we don't necessarily condone it, we shy away from it to for our own members. If an organized pirate group is seeking to interfere or take advantage of a Pilots Federation community initiative or get involved in a war that doesn't involve them, they do label themselves as aggressors. Now, you can't hold small-scale pirating to this standard, but when a large pirate group is acting in their own as a political force or as a terrorist group or as a vigilante group, they do subject themselves to that level of involvement in politics, and war would be a word that I would possibly place on this. Ultimately, we are abstaining from a vote, but we do recognize that that larger size pirate groups do have that influence, and that they are making moves like that. They should declare separately.
Thank you. Next, Independent Pilots Consortium, please.
With the nature of the galaxy, we see that this is just not feasible. Two things must be considered.
There will be many commanders who do not see the galaxy as we do. To the IPC, we see this as just a blanket policy that at the time will be impossible to enforce without causing needless wars just because once again, we don't like an organization's business policy. 2. Without group tags, I could easily claim I am such and such of group so-and-so and pirate you. And this is just really absurd, and there has already been rumours that this has happened to the code, so we vote no.
Okay, thank you. Federal Navy Elite, please.
By default, no. I feel that any group or organization who has taken the duty of protecting any such system should be left to decide for themselves to declare war or not. So no.
Thank you. Emperor's Grace, please.
Similar to what Commander Book from ADK said, there's a fine line between piracy and terrorism. When piracy turns into griefing and goes over the board, then that would be considered terrorism and thus an act of war. Piracy is an occupation nonetheless, and not fit for everybody. In that case, we would like to abstain from this vote.
Thank you. Moving on to the Elite Space Corporation, please.
We'd like to abstain on this one, as an organization is kind of a blurry definition, as 2 or 150 members is an organization, so we should abstain from this vote.
Thank you. East India Company next, please.
The East India Company would like to second Merchant Marine's assertion that freedom of travel is a basic right of every pilot in the Pilots Federation. Also, the phrasing of this sanction hinges upon a group self-identifying as pirates, as opposed to being defined by others as pirates. A simple workaround is a piracy group not advertising themselves as pirates, but continuing their nefarious deeds, at which point the sanction would no doubt change to an external subjective definition by other groups. As with the previous issue, the lack of objective or accountable oversight or checks and balances for the inevitable body in charge of defining piracy is of paramount concern. We vote no.
Thank you. Moving on to the code next, please.
Right, well, as pirates, we go anywhere and we pirate who we want to. Why should there be a difference between a high security system and any other system? As pirates, we are pretty much hostile in every system other than the independent systems that we operate in. That's why we're trying to expand the independent code lands. If we decide to enter a high security system, we expect to be shot at. We are hostile to everyone, everywhere. As for making it an act of war, it's totally irrelevant, as we are at war with pretty much everyone anyway, so we vote to abstain. Bang! And the pirates have gone.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the Empire Corsairs, please.
Well, thank you. Empire Corsairs believe that pirates' life will be hard enough with the new bounty system incoming, so it's no. Plus, pirates who are usually wanted are already assailable without warning. And finally, pirates are pirates. You know, they don't declare wars. It's a way of life. So we reject this motion.
Thank you. Next, Mercenaries of Memoocan.
And Mercenary Raccoons view pirating as an individual-to-individual basis. A person or commander pirating another commander is solely between the two commanders, and should not be considered an act of war between organisations. As for a labelled pirate flying through a high-security sector, we believe in free travel, open borders for any commander flying through any sector. It's only when they start acting upon actions considered piracy that they then become a problem, and it's a matter for the individual's own security. And if they're looking to hire mercenaries to protect them, we can give you a number for that. When piracy operates on the level of an organisation in effect to change the state of a system, then it is between two organisations that are already going to be at war, so therefore it's irrelevant. So we vote no.
Thank you. Adel's Armada, please.
Even though Adel's Armada is completely against piracy, we do not believe that piracy in a system should be considered an act of war, as pirates do not follow the formal rules of war. In our personal opinion, war can only be initiated by an official system power, so we vote no.
Thank you. On to Delta Squad, please.
We're still at the question of pirates, right?
Yes, pirate factions entering secure systems are committing acts of war.
Yeah, we would abstain simply because of every criminal is responsible for themselves in the universe, and we also like the idea of free travel in space for everyone, even pirates as well.
Thank you. And then finally, Cosmic State, please.
Honor is what separates us wolves from the snakes. Raiding unprotected folks will only lead to needless bloodshed. Vengeance and raids might be necessary, but the gods know beforehand, so they are prepared for war. That was a vote for yes, basically.
Thank you. And that concludes the discussion on the second topic. One moment here while we change over to the third, and I will introduce that one. The third topic then. Organizations should be required to give 24 hours notice before commencing an operation whose aim is to change the political stance of a system, or it will be considered an act of war. And again, I'd like to ask you to say yes, no, or abstain on your vote for this one. And we'll just randomize the order of this one as well. And we will start with the Empire Corsairs, please.
Well, we think this game isn't called Elite My Little Pony. You see, I'm sorry, but there's no way we give whatever notice for an invasion. Totally disagree.
Okay, thank you. Independent Pilots Consortium.
We at the Independent Pilots Consortium would vote yes if this is meant to allow both factions to initiate negotiations, and maybe a trade and control of systems would be better.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you. Federal Navy Elite, please.
An act of changing the political stance of a system sounds an awful lot like war to me anyway, so giving 24-hour notice seems a bit moot. My vote is no.
Thank you. And just from our live viewers, we are getting questions as to what the vote count is for various topics. We're not counting them up until the very end, but we will publish the votes in some form or other on the relevant channels. So just to address that one before we move on, onto the code, please.
Yeah, well, 24 hours notice seems a bit crazy, you know. I mean, we're pirates. We're not going to tell everybody that we're going to take this system or take that system. We're going to do it all like undercover behind everybody's backs. That's what we do. We're pirates. So, you know, no, definitely no. Bang, and the pirates have gone.
I can see a theme emerging there. Onto Adel's Armada, please.
Because Adel's Armada is categorized as a federal Black Ops unit, we usually don't announce our intentions until after we've already done them. We personally support a group's right to fly under the radar, as well as a group's right to fully announce their intentions in order to gain publicity for an operation, so we vote no.
Okay, thank you. Cosmic State, please.
We are fighting a war against Loki's agents. We need all the warriors we can get. Therefore, we have to free systems from their unrightful leadership of Prince. We therefore demand that it is only an act of war in the core systems, and therefore abstain from the vote.
Thank you. Test, please.
Test will abstain from this vote.
Okay, thank you. Dark Echo, please.
Dark Echo would like to abstain from this vote.
Very well. And moving on to ADK, please.
Having participated in these kinds of political plays before, we don't shy away from the political risk and reward that comes with anything from spec op to open and declared system stance changes. We don't hide our intentions. We don't hide our presence in these plays. We dedicate pilots to causes as needed. We've come across instances where we were surprised to find small underarmed Empire fighters working in the shadows opposed to us, and I suppose they were quite surprised to see us as well. I don't think 24 hours is really an effective notice. I think it's quite short. Typically by the time anything has happened, that's usually out. We do, however, vote yes on this matter if there's an understood agreement among factions, which thus far with the votes seems relatively unlikely.
Thank you. So what you're saying is you're going to vote yes if everybody else votes yes. Which...
If it's an understood kind of agreement or a treaty per se between groups, then we're by all means for fair play, and between groups we're happy to participate and be involved with that kind of agreement.
Thank you. And Big Harry's boys, please.
Thank you, Count. Well, recently we found back in Seoul a very interesting ancient artifact. It had some sort of it was a title of some sort, a game back in the day, Civilization something, I don't know. But that made me think, like, why should we announce that we're going to war with someone? In a real situation of war, there is no time to tell your enemy, war, hey, come here, we're going to fight you. No. We're not about that anymore. That's the past. That was thousands of years ago. So now we just have to look to the future. And if you want to do that, that is totally fine. You can do that all you want. But this is a very dangerous galaxy, and only the elite will survive.
How do you vote, Commander Space Texas?
I vote no. You shouldn't be required to do that unless you want to.
Thank you. Emperor's Grace, please.
Empress Grace would like to vote no for this. We prefer the Trojan horse tactic, where we'll catch you off guard and take what we want.
Thank you. XYZ, please.
While we do believe in fair and honest conduct in all fully mobilized actions, we do not believe that a 24-hour period may be necessary. And in some cases, due to the delicate nature of investigations and deciding whether or not you are going to act, announcing something of this nature may result in more bloodshed than if you had not, forcing those to act too early, perhaps, in some cases. On that note, we do vote against the 24-hour notice requirement, though do vouch for honesty and openness once you fully mobilize.
Thank you. Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps, please.
Any attempt to change the political stance of a system is effectively war. Factions already give notice of this. We maintain reconnaissance over hundreds and hundreds of systems, and we know that doing this notice practically is entirely not possible. We vote no.
Thank you. And Northern Light?
Northern Light would like to vote no for the following reasons. Who would we give any notice to? What giant governing body in the galaxy is there for anyone to report to? And even so, why should any faction feel the need to gain permission? At most, we would support an announcement, but that's only if it's really needed, and it's not really ever going to be needed, so we still vote no.
Thank you. Elite Space Corporation, please.
Vote yes on this topic because we think that with this kind of system, it should be like the information on the game right now is not very clear about all wars on the galaxy, and the galaxy has already changed a lot from its beginning, but we can't see on the map right now. So I think it should be pretty fun to see all the wars and participate to all the wars. Thank you.
Okay. How did you vote on that? Yes, no, or abstain? Yes. Okay. Can you close your microphone, please?
My ears, my ears.
Thank you. Moving on then to Merchant Marines.
The Merchant Marines believe that, in the interest of the public good, if a group is found to be boosting minor faction influence, either covertly or without reasonable warning, their actions are to be considered a declaration of war. While this behavior may be common practice currently, We would like to encourage commanders in charge to instead seek diplomatic solutions, or, if such an accord is deemed impossible, formally declare war. To this end, we vote yes for the movement without reservation.
Thank you. Next, the mercenaries of Memoocan.
As it stands at the moment, the mercenaries of Memoocan always announce any operations we conduct on behalf of other Pilots Federation members against any Pilots Federation members. However, that is only as we conduct them. We feel that by announcing within notice, it will prevent smaller factions from conducting operations, as it could draw more attention than they would otherwise draw. The other problem we face with this is, with a 24-hour notice period, all it will do is force the less reputable commanders into those deep dark folds of space where nobody else can see them to conduct their operations there. And we believe wholeheartedly in flying openly and honestly where we can be seen and interacted with. So we vote resoundingly no.
Thank you. PCI Syndicate, please.
We also vote no on this issue. It's absurd to think that anyone would give 24 hours notice before making any move against another system. In the course of human history, that has never happened, and it will never happen. So resoundingly, we vote no on this.
Thank you. Let's hear from Volks back next, please.
This idea to us is difficult to enforce, as you'd never be able to ascertain whether Pilots Federation group was trying to change the political stance of a system. On top of that, there should be no obligation for you to inform your political opposition of your intentions to take power away from them, as this would allow them to organize their forces in such a manner that would allow them to counteract your actions before you'd even took them. Therefore, we'll vote no on this issue because we feel that it's just not conducive to a proper political environment.
Thank you. Delta Squad, please.
Well, very simple. For the same reasons as everybody else was stating before, our vote is no. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And lastly on this topic, East India Company.
Well now, sing along if you know the words. There is not appropriate oversight in place, nor a clear definition of what would constitute a hostile operation, nor what constitutes changing the political stance of a system. Is it triggering a civil war, an expansion, or merely moving the influence in any way, shape, or form? East India Company incidentally shifts power all the time just through our trading endeavors, and it's ludicrous to think that that should constitute an act of war, especially given we largely don't care for politics. Our company is a private enterprise, not the standing imperial army, and we won't be treated as if we are. We vote no.
Thank you. That now concludes the discussion on topic number 3. Well, I'll now switch over to topic 4. Give me a few moments. Topic number 4, then. Oh, I haven't written down that one in my notes. That's interesting. The Treaty of Liaidin. I confused myself there for a moment. Never mind. The non-expansion agreement forms the first part of this treaty. The Federation and Empire agree to maintain neutral influence in the system, the Liaidin system that is, and avoid expansion into or out of Liaidin so as to maintain peaceful relations between Patrons' Principles and the Crimson Fortune Company. The Free Travel Clause. This agreement does not restrict any pilot activity in the system, provided they do not violate the above condition. And finally, infraction consequences. Any member of the Pilots Federation who is found violating the conditions of the treaty will be subject to attack from any faction. And we will be taking a vote on this. The vote on this particular issue is whether your faction is signing up to the Treaty of Liaidin, whether you are a signatory to this treaty. Based on those 3 terms, you can vote no or abstain if you do not wish to either, well, if you want to oppose it or you want to not give your opinion on it. And voting yes will mean that you are agreeing with that treaty. So we'll randomize the order once again. And just for any live viewers or any viewers after the fact, I'd like to remind you that we're not counting up the votes at the moment. We are noting down the votes, and we will publish those once the proceedings conclude. We also have some live questions. Please ask your live questions in the chat facility provided. These will be noted down. We won't have time for all of them, but they will be noted down, and some of them will be selected for our panel at the end. So on the Treaty of Liaidin, let's start with the Elite Space Corporation, please.
Okay, we would like to abstain on this one. As an independent corporation, we have no business in Liaidin.
Okay, thank you. On to Cosmic State, please.
We do not dabble in the meaningless politics of the big three. There is worse coming to this universe. We appreciate the efforts to ensure peace, but it is preparing for something bigger. We therefore abstain.
Thank you. Next, Adel's Armada.
Being one of the official signers of the Treaty of Liaidin, we observe the agreement and will not hold ours, or we will hold our side of the bargain, as we perceive no injustice going on in Liaidin against federal systems currently. And Adel's Armada is not currently in the business of system flipping. In the future, though, if a full-on war on the level of the Lu conflict is started between the Federation and the Imperialists, we will of course be siding with the Federal Navy, and we will exterminate any aggressors. And I'm going to vote a yes, just because we've already signed it.
Thank you. Test Mostly Harmless, please.
Test abstains as we see it as a matter between the Federation and Empire. It is not up to independent groups such as Test to interfere with the intentions of two governing factions. However, independent pilots should be free to act on their loyalties as they wish.
Thank you. Federal Navy Elite next, please.
At this time, the Federal Navy Elite sees no reason that the Treaty of Liaidin should end. So yes, the F&E agrees with the treaty.
Thank you. And ADK next, please. Your microphone's open, but we're hearing no sound, Commander Book.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much for the update. Given the complex and lengthy history of Liaidin, I think it's an issue that many people overlook or are not fully aware of. I know several of those who've spoken are, however. We are also fully aware of the gravity of the Liaidin Treaty. Though we are supporting free travel, we are abstaining at this time.
Thank you. Next, Merchant Marines, please.
We are definitely for the Treaty of Liaidin and general idea of treaties that should be signed in certain cases, such as historical systems like Liaidin. We are definitely for this vote and hope that the Treaty of Liaidin, which is currently being tested, as I'm understanding, as we speak, hopefully things are still going smoothly in that system and no civil war breaks out.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, did you have anything to add?
No, that's it. No.
Okay. Next, the code, please.
It is the Code's understanding that the Treaty of Liaidin was an agreement between a small number of Pilots Federation factions, and as such we believe that matters of those factions should stay in those factions, and we're actually going to vote no on it because the possible repercussions of the agreement would be members of other groups, alliance groups, independent pilots and whatnot. They could come into the system without any knowledge of the Treaty of Liaidin and be shot on sight as per the agreement. So, once again, we vote no.
Thank you. A Delta Squad, please.
As we don't affiliate with any of the factions, we would like to abstain on this one.
Okay, thank you. The Mercenaries of Memoocan?
The Mercenaries of Memoocan held no part in the creation or undermining of the treaty, and we abstain as we have no interest in the sector.
Thank you. The PCI Syndicate next.
PCI has no interest in the sector. We abstain from the vote.
And on to Volkspack.
Volkspack has no vested interest in Liaidin, but if an Imperial federal war should break out, the Empire will have our full support. Vivat Imperator.
How are you voting? Is that an abstain?
That's an abstain.
Thank you. Dark Echo, please.
Although we were not involved in the beginning of the treaty, Dark Echo will recognize the treaty due to the fact that keeping peace will allow peaceful commanders in those systems to conduct business regularly, and we vote yes.
Thank you. East India Company?
Please forgive me if I run over my allotted time, Mr. Chairman. This was our treaty, and it's a matter close to our hearts. Ours, the Merchant Marines, Federal Navy Elite, and Adel's Armada were amongst those to initially sign, and the Earth Defense Fleet, not represented here today, also have signed after the fact. We met together, drafted and signed this treaty. We believe that should a no majority vote occur here, it does not invalidate the agreement made by the aforementioned groups. Liaidin is the symbol of a 1,000-year peace treaty that exists between the two great nations of Federation and Empire, and is a major tourist attraction for nearby Federation citizens, as well as a nice slice of home for Imperial expatriates. A war in Liaidin is not just bad news for Liaidin, but bad news for the galaxy as a whole. We vote yes.
And all within the allotted time. Well done. Next, Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps, please.
Matters of the Empire and the Federation belong to the Empire and Federation alone. We have no right to intervene. We abstain.
Thank you. Independent Pilots Consortium?
We would like to abstain from the vote, as we have no interest in Liaidin and would like to remain neutral as this time.
Thank you. Northern Light, then, please.
Northern Light would like to abstain, since this is pretty much a Federation and Empire thing, and we are an Alliance faction.
And Big Harry's boys next, please.
Thank you, Cone. Well, I just want you guys to know, everyone here, members of the Galactic Senate and the viewers, that this treaty has to be put up and has to be respected. This isn't just the Imperial forces and the Federal Navy. Oh, no, no. This is bigger than most of us, if you don't believe it or not. It's much, much bigger. If this was to go through, and let's say the system flipped to either side, we would see a galactic war that would be unbelievably dangerous. So, if we were to not agree to this treaty, there would be so many problems. Just as is. We have to respect it.
Thank you. XYZ, please. Commander Video. Commander Link, XYZ. Moving on. Emperor's Grace, please.
Emperor's Grace votes no. We will not sign a treaty, nor will we abide by it. Simply put.
Thank you. And finally on this one, Empire Corsairs.
The Federation doesn't take offense when the subfactions have expansionary policies in our imperial galactic space. We see no reason why we should moderate our own. Empire Corsairs don't think there is need for a treaty. May the best one, period. Thank you.
Is this a vote for no or vote for abstain?
It's no.
No. Thank you. And that concludes the discussion on our fourth topic, then the Treaty of Liaidin. And I'd like to remind all of viewers that we'll count up the votes at the end. We don't have the means to do it right now, but we will publish the results once this session is concluded. And we are taking questions. We will be taking questions right up until the final topic, which is coming up in a moment. Once the topics are done, we'll see how many questions we can fit into the remaining time, and we'll go from there. We're not going to be able to answer every question that's been posed, but we'll pick the best ones. So on to topic 5. Give me a moment, please.
Excuse me, I do apologize for interjecting. However, my communications were disabled when XYZ was called upon. XYZ would like to abstain from the previous issue, for the record.
Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Let's move on to topic 5. One moment. Now, the final topic for discussion today, before we move on to questions, is Senator Denton Petreus should be condemned for recent warmongering actions. It's as simple as that, and there's no particular action associated with the condemnation beyond the condemnation itself. So when you vote to indicate yes, no, or you don't want to be involved, then has no specific action associated with it. This time we will start with the Independent Pilots Consortium, please.
We would vote yes. His acts of aggression and heavy-handed debt collection and breaking his own contracts, raising interest rates is inexcusable. To bring down the weight of the Empire on a false claim of debt collection shows an expansionist nature. Surely this isn't the representation of the Empire. We at the IPC would hope not. Staying a neutral party in these times is hard and complicated, and we hope this situation with Petreus can be resolved without any more bloodshed.
Thank you. A Delta Squad, please.
Yes, as said, we are not aligned with anyone, so our members can also do whatever they like on this particular matter. So we, as a group, we will stay neutral to this one.
Shall I cast an abstain vote for this?
Yes, abstain, please. Thank you.
And East India Company next, please.
We care not for politics. We'll cast an abstention and abide by the ruling vote of the council.
Thank you. Volkspack?
We have no invested interest in Petreus' activities. We find them deplorable at best, but we find that it is not exactly out of line with Empire interests. We abstain.
Okay, thank you. Mercenaries of Memoocan.
Mercenaries of Memoocan hold no problem with the Senator's current actions, as at the moment they're quite good for our business. We abstain. We vote there's no action should be taken.
Okay, for the record I recorded a no there. And on to
Correct.
Test. Test, mostly harmless, please.
We here at TESS, we believe Senator Petreus is a representative of the Empire. He should be dealt with internally within the Empire. And since TESS, we are an independent organization, have no dealings with them. We abstain.
Okay, thank you. Northern Light, please.
Yes, Northern Light would like to vote yes on this topic because we feel that Senator Petreus is an extortionist and is a warmonger and should be looked down upon by the rest of the civilized galaxy.
Thank you. Emperor's Grace?
Emperor's Grace would like to abstain from this vote. We think the fact that this topic is just completely absurd, and any Imperials who claim to vote yes for it should be treated as an act of treason.
Thank you. Merchant Marines next, please.
The Merchant Marines believe that Imperial Senator Denton Petreus is a threat to galactic peace and should indeed be condemned for his actions. As we view his behavior as inexcusable, we also call upon all other groups, federal, imperial, allied, or otherwise, to oppose him in his brutal gambits for power across the galaxy. Thus we vote that Petreus should be condemned and punished to the extent of the power held in this summit. So that's a 4 vote.
Yeah, I got that bit. Thank you. Alright, on to Cosmic State, please.
Petreus is one of the big agents of Loki. A Jotun himself, his acts endanger civilization and the fate of the human race. When Ragnarok comes, his acts are to be condemned by the axe. That's a vote for yes, by the way.
Thank you. On to XYZ.
As a coalition of independent pilots with no major factional affiliations, we choose not to condemn his actions at this point in time.
Okay, thank you. And Dark Echo, please.
Dark Echo does not condone the warmongering actions of Senator Petreus, and we will do everything in our power to stop the corrupt senator and all future conflicts. Dark Echo votes yes.
Thank you. ADK then, please.
ADK does recognize the massive number of aggressive moves that he's made currently and in the past. Crimes that he's committed, implied to have committed. He does walk a very fine line of violating his own people's support. Where this leads will be up to him. Should he turn that attention towards Federation, we definitely have a stand, but aside from that, and aside from looking down on him as a vile warmonger, the Empire's internal politics are really no business of ours at this time.
Shall I note a no or an abstain?
An abstain, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Federal Navy Elite, please.
While we disagree with the actions of the Senator, as a group directly associated with the Federal Navy, we feel it is not our place to vote on Empire matters. We abstain.
Thank you. And Empire Corsairs, next.
We don't think this assembly has the legitimacy to sentence any Imperial senator, since half of it is federal or independent. This is an Imperial issue. There is here a conflict of interest, so I guess we abstain there for this one.
Alright, thank you. And Adel's Armada next.
We have been very active in Quivira, fighting for the independence against Petreus, Petreus is attempting to pull a power play by taking over the system by force. We perceive Petreus' actions as a strong-armed tactic, and we protected the independents while crushing the Imperial attackers at their home base at Stapleton Dock. We will continue against Petreus and Quivira as long as he attempts to push his influence under the guise of being owed a debt. We vote yes.
Thank you. On to Big Harry's boys, please.
Thank you. Well, we must only look at the system Quivira to see the destruction that he's done to that system. Independent and in debt, he sent thousands and thousands of ships to just basically run amok and to flip it for his own imperial ways. That just proves to us, everyone here in this Galactic Senate, that he is going for power. He's not going for that wealth. Maybe a little bit, yeah, maybe. But in that case, he is just doing that for power. He needs to stand trial for his crimes. And that's, if we don't, well, we might as well look to ourselves independently and get destroyed in the wake of a tyrannical moron. Yeah, you heard it first, folks.
I'm assuming I'm recording a yes vote here?
Yes. Sorry, Con.
Okay, thank you. PCI next, please.
Being on the Outer Rim, we have no business meddling in the politics of the Empire. I think it's an issue just for them to determine. Therefore, we abstain from this vote.
Okay, thank you. Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps.
While we don't like his warmongering, again, this is only currently... this only currently concerns the Empire. As long as it stays that way, it's up to the Empire citizens to handle it. We vote to abstain.
Thank you. And the code, please.
As an independent privateering organization, for the most part, Petreus' actions don't affect us. However, Petreus does have power, and we respect power. As pirates, we believe if you want something, you take it. He feels like someone who would be capable of doing that, so we don't really see any reason to condemn him. Power is the only real way to get anything in this galaxy. And he seems like someone who's very capable of doing that, so we vote no.
Thank you. And finally on this topic, the Elite Space Corporation.
Petreus' attack again in this independent system and Russian people should not be tolerated, as it will surely massively disturb the spatial space in the future. So we vote yes.
Thank you. That concludes the discussion on our fifth and final topic for today. We have collected some questions from the audience, and we'll be posing those to our attendees in a moment. But as we've been running now for 80 minutes, we are going to take a quick break for 5 minutes, during which time the attendees could go and get refreshments, some Liaidin brandy, perhaps, whatever takes their fancy, and then they'll be back to answer a limited number of questions before we wrap this session up. So once again, for everybody watching live or recorded, there is now a 5-minute break. Bear with us.
Ooh,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first Galactic Summit here, hosted by Galnet News. We have a large number of attendees from various factions across the galaxy. We have discussed the 5 major topics on today's agenda. The votes on those will be counted up and relayed to you via your various chosen means. But we do have a revote here from Commander North State, if you'd like to do this before the questions.
Yes, Cosmic State there was a communications error. We would like to change our vote on the second topic, to an abstain rather than a yes.
Thank you, that's been duly noted. Now, the first question, and unfortunately for our viewers, we can't put the questions on the screen because they came in during our live session, but the first question is as follows. It's more of a discussion point than a question, I guess. Discuss how future summits work. Would you want to go faction by faction, or simple yes/no votes, or how would you like to see any future summits of this nature work? And we'll randomize the order once again, so bear with me. Let's hear from ADK first, please. Commander Book. Moving on. Elite Space Corporation. Any comments on future summits?
Well, the first one was pretty great. I mean, meeting everyone, all the people. I guess it's pretty nice. I think we should keep it that way. It's simple, and as we are like 15 plus corporation, and we're already more than 30 in the TeamSpeak. I think going one by one is pretty much the easiest way to go to prevent the mess, I guess. So, yeah.
Thank you. On to Volksback next, please.
This format seems to work pretty well. The only issue I can possibly see with this is if we get more groups involved, then you'd need to form forgive the poor timing, but a galactic parliament, as it were, to put votes through on this sort of thing. But I think this is a good medium to get the message of what the general consensus of the community is out to the community itself.
Thank you, and we'll move ADK to the end because I'm sure Commander Book will be back, but let's go on to Test.
Well, I think we should follow a more Robert's Rules system, where we have a discussion on the topic beforehand and then a yay or nay group vote at the end. Also a list of speakers so we know when we will be speaking instead of being called out randomly.
Okay, thank you. And a Delta Squad?
Yeah, we would also agree that once a month would be good as well.
Okay, Emperor's Grace, please.
We felt the summit was conducted very well. Everybody had time to speak, and we were able to provide the points and our views across accordingly. I thought it was very done well. Once a month would be cool.
Thank you. Independent Pilots Consortium?
Yeah, I think it was done pretty well, to be honest. Maybe a discussion would be quite good, but with the amount of people here, it would be kind of awkward to do, but yeah, that's all I have to say, really.
Thank you. And Big Harry's Boys?
Well, it was done very well, honestly, and we should have possibly a system that we all meet up to, and potentially, have a series of vultures that shoot out beams that come out when we go into the system, maybe, I don't know. But in all seriousness, it's a very good thing right now, and I like it. Once a month might be a little bit too long, maybe every 2 weeks, maybe, okay? Because it is ever-changing galaxy and such.
Thank you. Mercenaries of Memoocan?
This is good forum, a good way to bring the community together and to develop relations across different groups, especially groups like ourselves and PCI as well. I know they're out on the edge as well, where it's hard to interact with some of the groups further across the galaxy. This brings interests and kind of communication across them all. I reckon a list of speakers would be good, and if we're getting an advance warning of topics that are going to be discussed, perhaps at a previous meeting, next one's going to be discussed. Anyone that wouldn't otherwise be able to attend could perhaps record a message that could be played in their time slot as well. We're for more summits. We're probably thinking once a month, but we would be able to do every 2 weeks as well.
Thank you. And on to Cosmic State, please.
We believe that this conference worked out very well, and that we should keep it to 5 questions per meeting. Maybe vote on them beforehand, like we did for this one, and then keep the meetings to once a month.
Thank you. Merchant Marines.
First note, I think that the discussions should come before the vote. That way everyone can get their word out and we can all agree on a specific aspect of each thing instead of having such cookie cutter decisions based on what was written previously. I believe that every 2 months is probably a bit better than monthly. See how things develop over time. And I also motion for faction-specific summits, smaller things. That way we can avoid topics that don't concern, more than 50% of the people here. Sort of have individual discussion for those factions that matter.
Okay, thank you. Federal Navy Elite.
Only changes I can think of at this time is also keeping a consistent order of speakers, or at least a list of when each group will be allotted their time to speak on each topic.
Okay, thank you. Northern Light.
Alright, so first off, I want to say a big shout out to you guys for putting this together. It's really been great, and I totally support doing this every month. But I also think that there should be a speakers list, and kind of breaking roleplay here a little bit, I'm sorry, I think we need to do it in a sort of style in which people can respond, and also choose the different ones that they may or may not want to talk about. For instance, like what have been talked about before, some of the Alliance members may not want to talk about the Empire and the Federation treaty, so maybe if they don't want to talk about it, they just don't sign up for the speakers list. And the speakers list can be something that we do on Google Docs, so everyone who is an ambassador here can sign up on the speakers list down the row, and then just the next one up, everyone can see who goes next and who is talking, and then at that point you don't need to call out somebody simply for them to say abstain. For something like that, it might make things a little bit more smoother. So it's just a simple idea that I had, but otherwise this is a great idea. I love that you guys did this, so thanks a lot.
Thank you. XYZ, please.
Thank you for putting this together, by the way. It has been pretty awesome the way it's gone so far. Everybody's been able to speak. I can definitely see the benefit of having a set order, in case anyone is away from their comms at the time they're called. However, someone had suggested using multiple relays of different groups, rotating sort of thing, which I do think would be great. That would promote sort of interconnectivity and everybody being kind of active in the community events, you know what I mean, I guess, by saying that.
Yeah, thank you. And a PCI Syndicate next, please.
Thank you for putting this together. It has been a great experience. As far as Northern Lights' proposal about the Google Docs and the speakers list, I think that's a great idea, simply because it'll eliminate, the Federation and Empire and Alliance specific issues that the Independents are going to abstain on anyway. It'll cut down on the vote time, so we would fully embrace that.
Thank you. Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Northern Light and American Marines' opinions. I mean, we can improve a little bit, but overall it was a nice initiative, so thanks guys for putting this up. And yeah, we just maybe we have to come up with the agenda first and see what groups are interested in attending or not, because this is objectively time consuming So yeah, just do that and agree with a period. I mean, 2 weeks seems too early for me. Maybe 1 month or 2 months.
Okay, thank you. And Empire Corsairs?
I would like to thank Galnet News for putting this together. It has been a great experience. If I had to give a suggestion, I think we should give to everyone the opportunity to vote for best questions, which will be submitted to this assembly. Otherwise, the format is good. I mean, 5 questions is enough, and I think a summit every 2 months would be good. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to add at this point that there was intending to be a vote on which questions should make it, and we only had 5 in the end, so there's no point voting. But I'm sure we'll get more questions for next time, at which point we will take a vote on that. Dark Echo, please.
First off, I'd just like to thank everybody for being here, everybody who made this possible. Awesome. We pretty much agree with everything that's been suggested, said. The once a month thing, 5 questions is probably, it's taken, an hour and a half at this point. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's been good.
Thank you. And the code?
Everything seemed pretty fine here. It'd be nice to see maybe once every 2 months would be a good spacer. And maybe the questions a bit. There were a few here that seemed to pertain to individual player groups, which kind of drew it out a bit, with a lot of people abstaining because it didn't apply to them. But other than that, yeah.
Thank you. Adel's Armada.
Yeah, just thanks for putting this on. You guys have done a very professional job, and I think this is a great time to have a forum between powers within this great galaxy we have. I think that having a limited amount of questions, 5 is the perfect amount, and a limited time per question per commander is great. I love that. It makes things fly much faster. So thank you, and I'll be at the next one.
Thank you. East India Company, please.
Well, firstly, we'd like to thank Galnet News for taking over the idea of this Galactic Summit. We certainly think it was a success, and we'd like to see it happen again with some regularity, perhaps to be voted on as to how regular that would be. We were happy to host everyone in our offices here, and we'll happily do so again in future. We have larger offices that we'll move to accommodate the growing number of groups and delegates. In terms of how the process is conducted, we believe each group should be able to speak to the topic before the votes are cast, as people bring compelling ideas and objections to ideas that may change someone's vote after it's been cast under the current system. We believe that a centralized discussion forum ahead of time to discuss and vote on what the agenda topics will be would be extremely beneficial. East India Company is already set up to host this from a logistical standpoint in a forum located especially for these discussions.
Okay, thank you. And it's been brought to my attention that Commander Dino from the Alliance Protectorate has joined since the summit began. So, Dino, if you'd like to put any answer to this question, you're welcome to do so at the moment.
What's the direct question we're up to? Sorry, man, I lost track.
Well, it's kind of hard to hear there, but
What's the direct question being asked at the moment?
The question relates to the summit and how you would like to see future summits organised, if differently from the current one.
Well, I think this one worked out fairly well. I personally would like to see more of an in-game summit. It seems a little bit immersion breaking in TeamSpeak here.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, we'll come back to Commander Book from ADK, who wasn't able to answer initially.
Sorry about the skip earlier, and thank you very much for a moment of time. Very appreciative of you putting all this together, and for EAC bringing us to the offices here. Hopefully we can keep it regular. We're up to doing it every month or therein every 2 months, whenever it needs done. And hoping we can get some kind of structure in to maybe work out some of the definitions and some more details between the factions. But definitely nice to see everybody's faces in game, and hopefully we can continue these until we're planet side.
Thank you. We'll take 2 more of these audience questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time for all of them, but we'll do 2 more. And the next one is a question which says, will there be emergency sessions for the Galactic Summit? And what are your faction-based opinions on the idea of an emergency session in the event of a key piece of news coming out, something like that would warrant that? It's already been decided between 2 weeks, a month, maybe 2 months. We can vote on that kind of issue. But aside from that, the idea of having an emergency summit for a more pressing issue, and just randomize the list here. Let's start with PCI this time, please. Okay, moving on to Cosmic State, please.
Could you come back to us in a second? We're still formulating a response.
Absolutely. Northern Light, then.
I think that an emergency summit meeting would be very beneficial before, if something happens and all hell breaks loose, we're going to need to be able to create a coordinated response, and an emergency meeting would do such that.
Okay, noted. ADK then, please.
Definitely open to emergency. I think somebody's comms went off. They might have an artifact on board. We're definitely open to emergency summits. Definitely when the need arises. There may exist some very, very interesting situations in the future, and we definitely like to talk to some of the other officers of some of the other groups to get some things panned out when those things occur.
Thank you. East India Company then.
Well, certainly we're in favour of, emergency sessions of diplomacy, and, when the need has arisen in the past, we've not shied away from reaching out to the commanders of the relevant, pilots groups. And, again, as per the previous answer, we have set ourselves up in such a way that we are able to reach out to those leaders, delegates and ambassadors of various groups within the Pilots Federation, and we'd be happy to offer that service to any of the other groups should they choose to take us up on the offer.
Thank you. On to the code, please.
Yeah, just a quick reply. We'll be very happy to take part in any emergency meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And the Alliance Protectorate?
Yes, I think that would be something we would be up for. Potentially after any game-changing updates would possibly be appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I'm just going to ask for the next question. If you please at least double the volume of your microphone, that would be very useful. And we'll move on to Adel's Armada, please.
Yeah, we'd be all for an emergency meeting of some sorts if it applies to us, as long as we have some sort of notice beforehand.
Thank you. Mercenaries of Memoocan?
The Mercenaries of Memoocan would be able to supply a representative at any emergency meeting, as we have commanders around the clock. It would just be a case of confirming the method in which the meeting would be called, or commanders and groups contacted. But we would definitely be involved and happy to be.
Thank you. Empire Corsairs?
If necessary, why not? This could be very interesting considering the next update. So yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. And Merchant Marines, please.
The Merchant Marines are completely willing to participate in emergency meetings, particularly in regards to diplomacy and maintaining peace. However, our participation in individual meetings would have to be limited by relevance, so if something happens with imperial politics, we are not likely to participate.
Thank you. Big Harry's boys?
Well, yeah, we can do that, of course, but again, like he said, it has to pertain to what might be interested in doing, and yeah, the galaxy needs more news, even if it's emergency or not. Because this is a very good project, and I like it.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Delta Squad, please.
Yes, we can also, we agree with emergency meetings, and just given a bit of further notice would be good. Sorry.
Great, okay, thank you. Dark Echo.
Yeah, we would definitely be willing to go to any emergency meetings as long as there's a decent way to be informed of them beforehand.
Thank you. On to Emperor's Grace.
Similar to what the other group said, just like EIC, we have a lot of groups that we keep in our contact list, just in case we need quick diplomacy. But we would be more than happy to attend any embassies or summits that would pertain to the Empire or galactically, affect.
Thank you. Next up, Volk's back. Okay, moving on. Federal Navy Elite then.
If the need arises for an emergency summit, the FNE will make every effort to attend.
Thank you. XYZ?
XYZ is definitely supportive of the emergency summits, however, pending availability of, all that. Excuse me.
And Independent Pilots Consortium.
Yeah, if given further notice beforehand and it was relevant, then we could be able to come, no problem. I really do like the idea, and I hope that becomes a thing.
Thank you. Elite Space Corporation.
We're definitely open to the idea. If it increases diplomacy between groups, yeah, why not?
Okay, brilliant. And Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps.
Yeah, we're definitely open to the idea of an emergency summit. However, it needs to be relevant, and it's got to be an issue that it spans all the player groups.
Okay, and Test, mostly harmless.
Yes, we would agree with everybody else that we would participate. However, being an emergency, we would not wait for a decision to be made by the summit to take action.
However, I would make all attempts to show up, as I'm usually free as I float around in space aimlessly.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to Cosmic State then.
Odin has given us a quest for peace. We believe, or overall peace, we believe that emergency meetings are a very good idea. Being an independent group, we would be ready to participate in almost any matter that would be discussed, and we would almost likely have a member on to discuss such matters at the time.
Okay, thank you. And let's go back to PCI Syndicate just in case that they are now back at these proceedings.
Yes, we would support emergency sessions as needed.
Okay, thank you. Well, that concludes our second question. Let's do one final question then, and bear with me whilst I bring this one up and randomise the order once again. There has been a suggestion of an alien invasion defense alliance, an alliance of factions that would stand against any kind of alien, non-human invasion of the civilized galaxy. What is your reaction to this? And as a group, as a faction, would you agree to it? And we're going to start with... We'll start with Adel's Armada on this one, please.
Oh boy. I'd probably wait to see what the overall mission for the aliens would be. We would probably make our choice to align with commanders who are doing the good for all the humans, basically.
Okay, thank you. XYZ?
We would be for the alliance if any sort of external or alien force were to invade. We would definitely need to band together as commanders to fend off such a threat. Of course, that would depend on its explicit intentions, which would hopefully be fully investigated before fighting.
Okay, thank you. East India Company, please.
So something about aliens, right? Look, I mean, ultimately, if they're seeking a trade, we'll trade with them. If they're seeking a fight, we'll fight with them.
Okay, thank you. Delta Squad?
Well, according to our previous statements, of course, we do want our space safe, so that would logically put us in position where we would forge an alliance with anyone fighting any aggressors and invaders in the space. And please allow us on this occasion to also thank you for the summit and everyone attending we're looking forward to the next one. Thanks.
Thank you. Merchant Marines, please.
Merchant Marines tentatively agree to support and ally with any groups that choose to combat against any alien force that threatens humanity as a whole.
Thank you. Northern Light, please.
As representative of the Northern Light, I believe that we'd need to investigate the intentions of the aliens, but if it's obviously hostile, humans are more important than an alien species. So we would participate in any alliance that would be to fight them.
Thank you. Alliance Protectorate.
I do believe an alliance based on any external threats would be needed. We would be silly not to.
Okay, thank you. Dark Echo.
We agree with Northern Light. We would have to investigate their intentions beforehand. If they are not hostile, there is possibly a lot that we could learn from them, a lot that we can gain from, investigating and talking with them. So, if they are hostile, then yes, we would be willing to join an alliance.
Okay, thank you. Volksback. Okay, moving on. PCI Syndicate.
If the aliens are verifiably hostile, then we would absolutely support an alliance to fight against them. However, if their intentions are other, then I think it's a good idea for more intelligence minds to win out.
Thank you. Empire Corsairs.
Well, to confirm our position on the previous question, I think such a threat would be a very good reason to gather an emergency summit and eventually decide what to do.
Okay, thank you. Empress Grace?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Squeegee Squad is a federally owned corporation, so I don't see why we wouldn't employ them if the need be. So I'm all for an alliance of any type.
Thank you. Test.
We believe that we will make a decision when the time comes, but not yet.
I would just like to add, why can't we just be friends with them? I mean, what's the problem with being like hosts for living Thargoid like larvae? I mean,
Well,
I totally agree.
The question relates to specifically to aliens. No alien is mentioned. No specific alien is mentioned in the question. Just aliens.
Oh, well, other aliens. Fuck those guys.
Okay. All right. So moving on. Alliance Elite Diplomatic Corps.
We would err on the side of caution. Very similar to Northern Lights, we would want to seek out and find out what their true intentions were, if they want to try to destroy humanity, or if they were just attacking a certain faction. We would definitely need more information. And by the way, we do love alien tech too.
Alien technology.
Good stuff. Cosmic State then, please.
If the invaders are found to be hostile, then it is Odin's mission for us to fight the minions of Loki wherever we see them. Ragnarok is at hand, and we will be prepared. We will fight alone or together as brothers in battle.
Mercenaries
Yes,
of
we would.
Memoocan.
Well, the obvious response has already been stated. If they are hostile, then a hostile response. If they're friendly, a friendly response. The question that really should be asked is what would the command structure of a organised response force be? Would it be a case of an overall faction taking command, disseminating orders down in the case of a hostile response, or would it be a case that everybody's responding in their own manner separately with no coordination? However, I think that question should be asked at a later date, but for now we would definitely support combat against a hostile force. That said, we are a mercenary faction, and if they're paying better than the rest of you, then tough.
Okay, Elite Space Corporation, please.
Well, actually, exactly like Mercs of Memoocan or Northern Light or AEDC, it depends on the alliance rate. If it's 100% hostile, then sure, we will join an alliance.
Thank you. Federal Navy Elite.
As a rapid response force, the FNE would likely not wait for any such alliance, as any such alliance would take some obvious diplomatic work, more so than can be done right this moment. But the FNE could definitely see itself within any sort of alliance.
Thank you. ADK.
If you look back into history, especially with the misconceptions that occurred with first contact with a group like the Thargoids, I think it's something that we can learn from, whether it's Thargoids or otherwise, whether or not we end up in conflicting statuses or whether or not we can maintain any kind of peace with them when we do make contact, if it does happen. If it does pose a threat not to an individual faction but to humanity as a whole, then I believe it is our right as or our responsibility rather, as a species to come together.
Thank you. Big Harry's boys.
Well, if they're here to trade, we'll trade with them. If they're here to fight, we'll fight for them. If they're here for something else that I don't want to disclose, well, I'm gonna back away and haul ass to my Python.
Independent Pilots Consortium.
If the aliens are identified as a threat towards civilized space, then we would definitely band together in an alliance and fight the common enemy.
Thank you. And finally on this one, the code.
When it comes to Thargoids, we really don't care how many ships they have, what size their ships are, their relationship major powers. The only thing that matters to us is what are they hauling in their cargo base.
Thank you. You got some more comments?
Say, if you don't mind, from the code, I'd just like to say that aliens are cool. However, if we need to kill them, then we would need the Plasma Plus to tackle them. This ultimate weapon is now available in Listi as well as Rare and Hussar. It can only be purchased by traders who bring rare goods into George Lucas and will only be available if Reinhardt and Telesis are still in control of the system. So keep the Alliance out of Listi, you know it makes sense. Bang! And the Thargoids are gone!
Thank you very much.
Applause.
He did the thing.
When I, for one, would like to say that we should welcome our space alien overlords.
Thank you very much. This closes the first Galactic Summit. Thank you very much to all of our attendees for taking the time out of their busy schedules to attend, and to everybody in the live audience and the recorded audience, especially in the live audience for asking the questions that we have just attempted to answer. We'll be making a recording of this event available to everybody after the fact, and also the results from the voting on the 5 issues that we discussed earlier. Once again, thank you very much to everybody, and for all the latest Galnet news, make sure you stay tuned to keep your galaxy in focus.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't hurt.
You've got some blood on you.